Justin, he says, hey, please go into some depth on video syndication PBNs. I thought we did this a few weeks ago, but we can do it again. Themes, domain name choices, hosting options. Well, domain name choices, I typically don't give a shit what the name is, because if I'm looking at domains that are themed for particular topics, that's all I care about. I don't care what the name is. Hosting ops. So again, usually for video syndication posts, I'm going to let Marco talk a little bit more about this, because he's heading up the Video Powerhouse builds right now. It's something that he took over. But when I was building out a lot of the video syndication sites for my own networks and stuff, I would just get domains based upon metrics. Relevancy wasn't as important a year ago for video syndication sites. I don't know what the impact is now, but I know before it was more about metrics, just like it was for buying domains for SEO, right? But now I believe it's going more about topical relevancy. What do you say, Marco?
Yeah, we're theming everything. We want that topical relevancy. So if we have a health category, we want it to be in some way related to health. We don't want to add something that was carpentry in a health category. And so we're not even looking at metrics. We don't care if it's 0, whatever, because it's third party, and they have their own algorithm, and they're only guessing at what Google is doing. From our testing, we know that Google wants relevant, right? Unique relevant content that's updated on a regular basis. That's what they want. They tell us exactly what they want. So we're after that. Metrics, if we can get an 80 domain, which you can't, right? And it's clean and it's pristine, yeah, it can be about anything, and you can change it because of the power that it has. Other than that, then just forget the metrics. Look for it to be relevant, look for it to be on point in your niche, and that's how we're building out Video Powerhouse, and that's how we're building out the secondary embed networks. So we have the primary embeds with roots, and we're going to have IFTTT around it. And then from that, we're going into the secondary, which is also going to be themed Web 2.0. So we're getting double power, we're getting everything niche. So it's just going to it's going to be the best embed network out there, period. I mean, I don't know how much more I can say. And getting back to his question, that's what you should be doing. Domain names don't matter. Hosting options, hide the footprint as much as you can. Yeah. Maintenance involved, there's tons of maintenance because you have to keep track. They go down all the time, and you have to go in and you have to fix it. You have to update. I mean, if we have a couple of programmers that look over everything each and every day, right? That's how much maintenance is involved. So.
For smaller networks, you can syndication networks, you can use MainWP to help you manage all that, and MainWP has extensions such as like uptime monitors and stuff like that, which could notify you when your sites go down. So and that is a ranking factor. So it does actually matter to make sure that you got a somewhat decent host, that your sites aren't going down all the time. I know that can kind of suck if you're doing video syndication sites, because you don't want to spend a lot of money on hosting those because they're just syndication sites. I get that, but you might want to think about maybe getting a better shared hosting account from somewhere like WPX Hosting, which is Terry Kyle's hosting. I'm actually testing that right now. One of my newest sites, I just bought a hosting package from him, or something like that has good managed services, and then using various DNS services, third-party DNS services like Cloudflare, Amazon Route 53, and there's other ones as well. That way, even if you only have one IP, with video syndication networks, I found that it's not as important to hide the footprint as it is for like PBNs. At some point that may change, though. It's likely to change. And so you're better off masking or hiding as much footprint as possible up front so that you don't have to do it later. But what I'm saying is, for smaller networks, you can get away with using one hosting account, one IP. Make sure it's a decent host, though, and then trying to basically split up your sites using different DNS services. Okay, and that's another way to kind of like minimize your hosting costs, because one of the things that's shitty about the using like PBN hosts and stuff is a lot of times those host accounts are so overrun with just shitty sites, and they slam way too many sites on those IPs that like the uptime is terrible. and the pages load slow because of the bandwidth is being, hogged by the hundreds of sites on those single IPs. It's ridiculous. And so a lot of the times the SEO hosting isn't good, and I'd rather spend more money for a better host and then try to diversify my IPs, change your SOA records and things like that to be able to hide the footprint, if that makes sense. Okay. But again, with video stuff, it's a little bit more forgiving, guys, than it is certainly than it is for blog networks for websites. All right. All right, we're gonna roll through.
The way we went after building Video Powerhouse is just set it up from the get-go to hide anything and everything we could, so that we wouldn't have to do it later on.
Yep.
I mean, it's just better. It's preparation, right?
Yeah, and I agree with that, because again, even if you can get away with it now, let's say a year from now, all of a sudden IPs and footprints affect even video syndication, video ranking, as it does, and it can become a negative factor, like it would for a website, using blog networks for websites. And if that's the case, then you'd have to go back through and rework all of your networks, and that's a real pain in the ass. So you're better off setting it up now the correct way.